el maestro Pantazi, que ha venido a nuestro país a dictar un seminario. Estamos aprovechando aquí para hacerle algunas preguntas o inquietudes que tenemos acerca de lo que vamos a ver en el evento y de las diferentes cuestiones que podríamos abordar con respecto al tema del Kyusho. Entonces, primeramente le vamos a dar una bienvenida al profesor y vamos a comunicarle nuestro agradecimiento por haber venido acá a nuestro país. Evan, how are you?
Excellent, Victor. How's it going?
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for coming to Ecuador again.
Pleasure. A pleasure.
It's the third opportunity you come to Ecuador.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate your support and the teach for the people interested in Kyusho in Ecuador.
Yeah. Well, I thank you because you're here in your country for your people to learn. This is invaluable. Kyusho is going to spread around the world, and we need people in different areas to make sure that they help the people learn it correctly and not to waste too much time on problems or incorrect paradigms.
Okay. Maybe you can explain what is Kyusho?
All right. Kyusho means different things to different people. It translates into an emergency point or vital point. All right. For us in modern society, we can't do the old or cute type of Kyusho, which would be more akin to Dimmak because it's too dangerous and damaging. So for modern application, we need to start working with the more superficial structures of the nerves. That way we don't cause as much physical damage to the opponent, okay, and we can protect ourselves quicker, all right, with less training.
Okay. Maybe you think the Kyusho is very important for the study of the martial arts or the martial artist professional?
Oh, every martial arts professional is going to have to learn Kyusho at one point or another. There's no denying the efficiency. There's no denying the ability you have in your martial style with this. It doesn't matter if you do jiu-jitsu, aikido, bagua, any martial art will do, or even if you don't do a martial art. Okay, so it's very important because as more people learn the Kyusho, all right, if you don't learn it, you're behind, and people will seek the more efficient style.
The children or women maybe use Kyusho? Can use Kyusho?
Yeah, it's especially great for women because women don't have the power of a man. All right, so if they're faced with a male opponent, which is most likely what's going to happen with them, or a very aggressive person, if they have to rely on strength, they're going to fail, or there's a greater possibility of failure. With the Kyusho, it's more of an equalizer, especially for small children as well, because it doesn't take a lot of power to affect the nerves. What it takes is accuracy, and a woman is going to be very accurate. Okay, they have a greater tendency to be more accurate than a man. Okay, and children, they're not as accurate, but with time they will be.
Okay. Evan, can you explain about the difference in Kyusho about the acupuncture?
Sure.
The people generally mistake this Kyusho with acupuncture. The people think this is the same.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's not. And if you look back in all the old diaries and manuals of the old masters, they never called out pressure points like on an acupuncture chart. What they did was they put in the organs or the nerves, or they talked about causing shock in the body, or blood problems, or blood, circulation problems. This is what they discussed. It wasn't the acupuncture. Okay, the acupuncture was a modern grasp by the early pioneers of Kyusho to try to put a label on it and try to understand what these old manuals were about. But it seemed to be correct because they were pointing out certain parts of the body, like the old diagrams. But they're not, because those old diagrams, they said different things. They didn't say like a triple warmer 17 or an acupuncture point. What they said was it was an internal organ, or it was a sparrow catching the wind, something very esoteric. All right, and what we've done with the modern Kyusho is we're taking it down to the anatomical structures, just like the old masters and the old manuals did, and talking about the physiological functional problems of the body when you attack this neurological system.
Okay. I understand that Kyusho is more efficient with human anatomy study together,
Sure.
The study together.
Right. Well, if you don't know what the anatomy is, what do you know what you're hitting? Okay. What we're after basically is the nerves. Now, dim mak and Kyusho separate a little bit in modern times. The dim mak is more blood targets or organ targets with blood flow in them, and that's a very damaging, very deadly thing. But even though if you're learning to study that, okay, you have to learn where the vascular tissues lie, in between the muscles, the tendons, the bones. You have to be able to access them. All right. If you don't study anatomy, you're only guessing. And it's especially true of the nerves too, because nerves are smaller for the most part, and they're sometimes harder to get to than a vein.
Okay, Evan, what do you think about the Kyusho in the law enforcement people?
Oh, well, it's great for them especially, and it's gaining a foothold. Now, there's old pressure point tactics that are used by a lot of police forces around the world, but the KTCP goes a couple steps above those programs. It's not just pain compliance, it's dysfunctioning the body. You take something like PPCT, which is a standard in a lot of law enforcement agencies, and they only go after pain compliance. They don't go after dysfunctioning the body. So you have a perpetrator, you don't want to just cause pain on the man, because that makes him a little crazier. If you can touch a spot, yeah, it might cause a little pain, but your main goal is to make their legs weak and drop so they go down prone on the floor so you can handcuff them. It's safer for the officer. It's quicker for the officer to get the person under control. So it's gaining a foothold. We're in a lot of different countries and a lot of different police forces, and it's growing day by day because it is so much more efficient than the old systems.
The people think the Kyusho don't work with drunk people or drugs people. What do you think about?
Well, we have a lot of law enforcement agents in our organization, and we get feedback all the time, and it does work. You just have to know what to do. Say, for example, someone that's drinking a lot, they're drunk, okay? The body is basically numb, all right? So that's why if they fall down a flight of stairs or they get in a car accident, they survive because their body is loose and absorbs the shock. Same thing with Kyusho. You hit them in the body that's completely numbed out, it's not going to have that much of an effect. But their head is spinning. So you can control the person easier on a drunk individual by the head. You've got other drugs like PCP or amphetamines that brings the body into a tense state instead of the looseness of a drunk. And what you have to do is remember that the upper body now, because it's being held in a constricted iron shirt kind of a format, you don't attack the upper body, you go for the inner legs where the strength is less. Because a man can't be strong up here and try to be strong down there. There's a yin and yang. Something has to be weak, like an Achilles tendon. Achilles was a very strong warrior, but he had that one weakness. And what you need to do is you have to learn the differences between drugs and their effects on the human body, which you can do visually. You can see if a person's sort of loose, or you can see if they're uptight. And then you make your judgment as to what targets are available for you.
Okay, interesting. I understand. Do you think the Kyusho is important for medical agents, for example, for wellness topic or?
Yeah, for health and wellness, it's great. And why it is great is because you take a shiatsu. Now, I'm a therapist in shiatsu and tuina, and as well as qigong therapy. So I've got this background. Okay. By studying the Kyusho and studying the dysfunctioning of the body, learning how to dysfunction the body, we get a keener insight into how to fix a problem, because most health problems today are stress-related. If you can cause the stress, then remove that stress, you become quicker with your healing approaches as well as better.
Okay. What the experience in Ecuador or the South America with seminars and the people?
Oh, the people are great. I mean, people are good everywhere. You know, it's usually the governments and the news channels that pit us against each other and try to say this territory is lousy, this territory is good or superior or less superior. It's crazy. People are good everywhere, okay? There are bad people everywhere as well. But the people in Ecuador are very friendly, very outgoing. It's a pleasure to be here and work with the people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can advise about the study of Kyusho?
It's a process. You can do it. You can learn some things quickly, okay, which is good for especially business professionals. They don't have the time to spend because they're building their business. They don't have the time to devote to a martial arts, which takes years to develop. Or you could take it on an approach which you work it over years. So you can do both. But the value of Kyusho is it doesn't take speed, it doesn't take strength, it just takes a little accuracy and knowing where to go. It doesn't take too long to show a person how to throw a palm on the person's jaw correctly to knock them down and make them dysfunctional. So it's great for a professional, it's great for women because it doesn't take the strength, and it's great for martial artists too because they can work it into their whole program. It doesn't have to be striking, it can be with grappling, it can be with anything you want.
Excelente. El Kyusho fue introducido a Sudamérica a través de Ecuador, de la línea del maestro Pantazi. Hace 8 años atrás nosotros comenzamos a hacer un estudio serio de este arte y hemos estado creciendo y progresando a partir de esa fecha. Y hemos logrado también que se expanda a otros territorios de Sudamérica, como por ejemplo Argentina, como por ejemplo Chile, como por ejemplo Uruguay. Sí, la idea es que el Kyusho se expanda y sea conocido a través de todo el planeta, y ahora con la misión de expandirlo aquí en Sudamérica. El profesor Pantazi nos ha ayudado en esta labor y nos ha enseñado la correcta difusión y el correcto entendimiento y estudio para no tener que perdernos en estudios que no nos permitirían desarrollar la técnica del Kyusho. Finally, Evan, maybe you can give a word about the seminar in Ecuador.
Yeah, we're having a seminar this weekend. Thank you, Victor, for having it and hosting it again. Victor, by the way, is the highest level of Kyusho practitioner in South America. He's been with us for a very long time and reached a high level of skill. So congratulate you on that, number one, okay, with the dedication. But your willingness to help the people also. Thank you for that. The seminar we're going to work, we have the private session today for the Kyusho International members, okay, where we're going to teach a little bit more advanced, in-depth understanding of the differences between Dim-Mak and Kyusho and how to affect them a little bit more. And tomorrow, our Saturday and Sunday's program is going to be more self-defense oriented. We're going to work with tools in a fast-paced environment, trying to get the targeting and the tools. That is excellent program for both a beginner that's just starting, never did martial arts. It's a very easy program to follow, as well as a seasoned martial artist. Because even for a seasoned martial artist, learning the targets and different applications of things they do in their martial arts, okay, will only benefit their martial arts skill.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you come Ecuador again.
Thank you.
Thank you.